We're back, and happy Sunday, everybody. Another night of racing here at Woodbine Mohawk Park. Alongside me is going to be my co-host, the Hall of Famer Randy Waples, and this is our third Sunday now, or 4th Sunday, maybe our third Sunday working together at the very least. Still takes some getting used to from remembering that I got to come in and work a Sunday night.
That's the worst for me, is getting up Sunday morning, you know what I mean, and thinking that, you normally it's a day off, and then it's not a day off. Nope. So that's the thing that I got to kind of get through my head, is the fact that you are working on Sunday.
Yep.
But, something, the racing's been good, so, I mean, the bet's been good, no complaints.
Got to look at the positives. And, the 3 consecutive nights off, I think, are a bit of a positive too, because it recharges the batteries, right? We come in more recharged, and again,
well, it's the right 3 nights to have off.
Yep.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Yep, exactly.
You might not want to have Friday, Saturday, Sunday off.
Nope. Well, it's fun now, the Sundays on the winter time. Well, not fun, but it's something that I could get used to. I have to see how I get used to it during the summers.
How do you think
that's the case?
How do you think you would have liked it, 30 years ago, when Sunday afternoon was 1 o'clock?
I would, you know what? I wouldn't mind that. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Still have the night to do whatever you want. Daytime is daytime. I just need my evenings. That's what I need, right?
There you go.
Just again, adjustment period for everybody, but so far so good, I'd say.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And for anybody that I talk to out there in the paddock and everything, they all seem good with it.
Nice that they're rattling off these races too.
That's
for the most
big
part.
thing.
I don't think they're not dragging anything. I think
That's
they've been
the big
going
thing.
off, on time. Which look. For us, I guess you got to look at the small victories as well, right?
Yeah, and that's the big thing. As long as they keep going with the same way, trying to get everybody out of here at a decent time, on a Sunday night, then I don't see any problem with it. Yep. And the bet's been good.
It's been good. So lots of good happening, and let's look back at last night's action though, because we had some good racing. We had some pretty big events and a lot of happy connections as well. We'll recap the Harvest Series finals action there. At least how many finals did we have? 3 of them. Last night we had 2 of them. But we'll look at the open pace here. Tarasi getting the job done here over, remember, the Alamo. Ultimately this race came down to a sprint, and Tarasi, as we know, can sprint with the best of them, and he got the job done.
Tarasi looked better last night too. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if it was just a matter that, Tyler went a cheap third quarter, like a fairly cheap third quarter, or what, but either way, Tarasi usually gaps a little bit on the last turn, I find. You know what I mean? He was right glued to him last night. The horse looks fantastic. I think the time off really did him good.
Yeah, nice effort there by Remember the Alamo, but a really nice effort by Brew Hanover. Was 4th in that contest. Likely a horse who needed that start. You have to figure that he's going to be even sharper next time out. But as is Tarasi, as is a horse who finished 3rd, Captain Fear Not. Another good effort by him.
He's got he whether or not he's an open horse at the age of 4, I'm not 100% sure. But what I do know is he's got open speed. That he has, and if he gets a little bit more of that, or if he learns how to carry it a little bit further, Kathy Troy's got herself a very nice Saturday night special. It's
like what we said a couple of times working together. Billy Davis has gotten a chance to sit behind some of these, Kyle Fellows trainees, and he just knows how to kind of he races them accordingly. When they have tough posts, you make sure to keep them sharp for the week prior, right? He never guts these horses, per se, and they keep finishing up with some pace. And then the week after they come back, when they draw a little bit better, they're even sharper. We saw that with Arbitrage. I mean, when he draws outside, he doesn't get the trips that we know he's accustomed to getting. Captain Fear Not moves up in class against some tough open pacers. Billy just doesn't, he drives him accordingly, and he finishes up really well. So those efforts are going to keep him sharper and sharper, those types of horses, and I think it's going to bode well for him and the stock that he's driving.
Keep that exact thoughts till tomorrow night, because I'm using a Billy Davis horse tomorrow night there for the exact reasons why you just gave, and he's double-digit long. And I think he knows the right way to get the most out of the horse.
You can tell he's getting himself acclimated here, returning back to the big track. He's no stranger to this place, but when you race in Ohio, especially at Northfield with all the action that's there.
Half mile generally.
It takes some adjusting, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. But I mean, him, J.R. Plant, and Travis Henry, to me, just really, really took the bull by the horns when they had this opportunity given to them. That's the big thing. It's an opportunity, to drive here. And they took it, and they're running with it, and, good on them.
Speaking of opportunities, we're going to look at some Harvest Series finals from last night, and Daryl Thiessen got a pretty good opportunity to sit behind J-Port Cash a few starts ago, and he was able to capitalize in that Harvest Series final, scoring at odds of 3-1. You and I both liked him in this outing. I was a little bit shocked with the price. You know, the trip worked out. He was able to flaunt that late speed that he showed over the last couple of tries, but nice to see him getting the job done. And Josh McKibben, I know this trotter maybe has given him some fits throughout his young career, but he's piecing it together at the right time, it seems.
He is, yeah, really starting to come around. Right here, you can really notice the two, and Barracuda started getting up by his wheel there, and all of a sudden, boom, he finds another gear, and big, strong, athletic kind of a horse. This horse is going to go a long ways.
Yep, a really nice effort there by J-Port Cash, and as you mentioned, the Barracuda, really good effort by him as well to be second in that contest. There was a pacing Harvest Series final last night as well for the Colts and Geldings. We had a bit of an upset, though, quite an upset, right? 33-1 winner. Devil's Wish was able to get the job done last night. Figment was just wasn't as good as advertised, right? Was the heavy 1-5 choice. Didn't really work out a clean trip. I believe he was chartered with broken equipment in this outing as well, but it's Devil's Wish who gets the job done for Tony Beaton, and as you mentioned, his barn's been sharp lately.
His barn's been really sharp, but who's driving this guy, right? This guy that we were just talking about, Travis Henry, one of these new drivers coming in. Again, you know, he finds the right trip. He's another one that's really adjusting to this track, you know. Really, you know, I'm not going to use the word proud. I think I'm more in awe of the fact of how quickly he adjusted to this track. It's not an easy place. 7/8 mile, I found it easier to adjust to a full mile track than getting used to 7/8 mile racing. You know what I mean? Just took a little bit longer, but he, you know, these guys and Travis, you know, I mean, they've taken the ball, the ball, and they're running.
Yep.
They're running with it.
And speaking of which, that winner obviously helped kind of propel a pick six carryover into tonight. So we've got a nice little pool for the Sunday night program, just shy of $7,700. So a nice little carryover opportunity for the Sunday night program. Some of those races I see rather formful. I think I'll be leaning on Doug McNair in a couple of legs pretty heavy, Logan Park being one of them. We'll touch on some of his other charges later on the pre-show. But I really do think this is a sequence that's fairly gettable, I'd say.
Yeah, I think so too. Logan Park there, I mean, he's the key, isn't he?
I would have to think. I think Kevin Plouch is going to opt to try and play against him. I think he's going safe conduct's direction. But outside draw or not, I mean, the horse is sharp.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the time of year, I should say, where he just starts to get sharp. You see him early on in the spring, he races well. Later in the summer, he hits a little bit of a lull period. And then afterwards, he picks right back up where he left.
You'd wonder
off.
if he maybe suffers a little bit from allergies.
You would have to think.
You'd have to think, you know, because it seems like those times of the year are when he's, you know, kind of a little bit on the weaker side. But when it's cold and that, you know, or when the summer has got into summer, you know, the pollen's not in the air anymore. That seems to be when he thrives the best.
It's been a long year for him.
It's been a very long year
to
for him.
Sweden, coming back, participating in some Grand Circuit
and last
events.
year was a tough year.
You know, but long year. But again, nice to see him getting sharp towards the end of the year, and hopefully he can, you know, if he does all his racing, obviously in North America next year, I think he'll be a force in the open trot division like we expect him to be.
Yeah, the biggest thing that I've noticed with Logan Park myself in the last, say, 2 or 3 weeks or whatever, well, even longer than that, I'd say like probably about maybe 5 weeks or so, is the amount of weight that he's put on. He has beefed up big time. Like they've gone really light on him in the last little while, I think, and he's really thriving because of it. So what we were seeing before, to me, I think there's even more power out there now. So it's going to be interesting one of these times if McNair, you know, turns this guy loose.
And that'll be race number 7, where we get a chance to see Logan Park in action. That's going to be our featured event, the $40,000 open trot. Let's get right into the action here tonight. Randy, race number 3 is where we're going to kick things off. We've got $8,000 claimer here for a field of 8. And morning line favorite's going to be the 4-horse Aragonite, one that's coming off a nice third-place effort in his most recent. Sport and Sense is one that I think is going to take plenty of support here. The direction that I'm going to go, I think Asher's Basher is going to take some looks as well. You didn't go either that direction, though. You're going to try and hope for a bit of a price player here in the 3-horse Race Credit, and you seem to think that he's got the opportunity to bounce back tonight?
I think he can. Yeah, I think he can come back with a big effort. I go back to the very first. Well, I'm not going to say the first time that they raced him, but early when he was racing for Barassa, and he was a winner down on the bottom in a 9,000 claimer. Made his way up into the optional 12.5, and I think it was just maybe a little bit too rugged. Look at the miles he was pacing: 51, 52. He was a winner in 53, but the 51 and 52 were a bit much. Then he makes a break over at Flamborough. Comes back here. Now he's made his way down into the 8 claimer, which is less than what he'd won for before. First time Tyler Borth, he finishes second, and a good second, makes up good grounds. Last week he gets the 9 hole. Travis Collin driving him. Travis has really no choice but to just move him back. Doesn't really get anything going, but I think he was moving good on the end of it. And I think he's starting to kind of come good again. So let's roll this replay with Ray's credit. Travis Cullen at the back with this Rene Barassa trainee. And another thing with this guy, John, too, that I really, really like is that last name on the ownership, Ronnie Mollendijk. This guy's gold when it comes to looking after horses. And between him and Barassa, I really do think that they're going to get this classy individual right back on track again. So didn't really do much in here, just wanted to show you that he's pacing good that way. No efforts, no issues that way. Just never really got involved into the race. And I think that he's going to like this action in here a little bit better tonight. I think he's just starting to kind of come back around tonight. I don't really think that there's anybody in here to me that stands out, whereas him, I know what he brings in back class. It's just a matter, can he reach back and find it again? I think he can.
Yeah, well said. I mean, for me, like you mentioned, nobody really stands out to me. So with Ray's credit, I know he's got the class to be competitive. I didn't factor him in here in this spot because I know he's got the ability, but just one, I don't know what kind of trip he's going to get. And some of his prior efforts just haven't really stood out to me. That one, he was up against it from post 9. I agree with you completely. I think he'll be able to work out a better trip here tonight. I went with Sport and Sense here in this spot because I was intrigued with that first start for new trainer Cam McQueen, and I'm just hoping maybe he can build off that. And we've seen that in some starts over the course of the last few months when Cam brings some horses over from the B tracks. You got to take notice. I mean, he's got a pretty good percentage this year. They have success here on the big track when he brings them. And he's going to have James McDonald aboard. So I'm going to give the son of sports writer a whirl on top tonight.
It's really, that was my top pick.
Okay.
Originally, my top pick was Sports Sense on to Ray's credit, and then I got looking at it more and more and more, and I finally went Ray's credit, brought Argonite into it in second, and now Sports Sense is going to be third. The reason why I went with Ray's credit, originally I went with Sports Sense. I think that his Sport and Sense, his last 2 lines look amazingly good, but each time they're in a conditioned claimer. Where this Ray's credit's been racing straight claimers, and I think that it's a bit of an advantage. I think this might be a little bit of a drop down for Ray's credit.
Yep. Again, I'm just glad. I'm glad that this race isn't a part of the pick 6 sequence because I would have a tough time.
Would this be an all?
Be close to it.
Yeah.
For sure it would be close to it because I had some trouble. But ultimately, I took a stand on this Cam McQueen trainee, one that I'm going to use as a pick 5 single. We're going to move on to race number 5. That's going to close out the early pick 5. We've got a field of 9 here in this claiming handicap, and we've got a couple of sharp horses starting from post 7 and 8. So how good has HF Pan Shadow been as of late? I mean, he's been really, really sharp. He's going to get Doug McNair aboard, who has guided him to a victory the last 4 times. He's been aboard this Son of Santana Blue Chip. But the one to his inside has been pretty sharp as well. Let's Get Rocked. And for me, I think he's his biggest competitor.
Is that where you went?
I went HF Pan Shadow tonight.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay, so then we were reversing our exactor.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I go 7-8. You're going 8-7. Yeah, so I agree with everything you said about HF Pan Shadow. I think he was a little bit out of position in his last start. But let's take a look at Let's Get Rocked. Now, see, another thing, too, I think that in a way we're looking at with HF Pan Shadow, and I might be wrong here, but I think in a way we're looking at what we were dealing with Let's Get Rocked in his last. Let's Get Rocked raced on November the 2nd, entered to go November the 9th, and then was scratched. And now he comes back 14 days later on the 16th. And this is the replay that we're going to show you. And it's a good replay. He finishes second, but you can tell there's a little bit of a lack of fitness. Now, HF Pan Shadow, he's coming into this race last date, November the 9th. So now he's the one that's maybe missing a little bit of fitness. So let's roll this, take a look, and see if we can get Let's Get Rocked back onto the win circuit, onto the win column. Because Randy needs to beat John. This is the whole deal. It's got to come in. It's got to come in 7-8, John. We can't come in 8-7.
Well, It's going to be close.
Here we
I'd
go.
say.
So anyway, this is last week. This is Let's Get Rocked. This is going to be YYC on the horizon, winning this race. In my opinion, Let's Get Rocked. He's got no answers for him at this point. You can see this. YYC, just Jogberger up front. But this guy, to me, much the best of the rest. And again, 2 weeks off going into this race. I think that Cliff McGuire is going to have him that much better. He is gaining back up on that horse again. I just think that he's a horse that, came into that last start, maybe needing a race, got that race into him. It was a good one. Let's go back to reset.
I think that's what scares me the most, was that he does draw inside of HF Pan Shadow. He can snap off the car a little bit quicker. But I just like the way that this Malik Smith trainee has been racing. I mean, even if you come first over with him, he still wins comfortably. Like I said, been racing well with Phil. It just seems like Doug's got the keys to him when he's in the bike. So I'm going to side with him now that Doug is back aboard tonight. I don't think there's a wrong answer between the 7 or the 8. Though. I couldn't key HF Pan Shadow. I did use the Cliff McGuire trainee because I think he's a horse that also merits plenty of respect.
Talk to me briefly about the other Malik Smith, because I see you got him in for third as well.
Yep. Obviously, one that has been racing really, really well, was recently picked up from Ashley Hensley's barn. And I think his efforts have been sharp. I just haven't seen as much gate speed from him as of late. I don't know where he's going to snap off the car, and I don't know if he's going to be able to work out a trip good enough to get the job done. It's ultimately why I opted to a kind of, I think I left him off one of the multi-leg sequences. I can't remember which one, but I think with the right trip, he can be competitive. But I prefer horses that can maybe put themselves in play a little bit quicker.
Yeah, that's like, I probably read way too much into an 18 to 24, but it almost looks to me like, because Vertical Squirt, both Malik Smith horses to me are the ones to beat. He's got the 6, HF Pan Shadow has the 8. Travis Henry is sandwiched in between. If he snaps this guy out of there, I think that he puts the other two, the two Malik Smith horses, in a really tough situation. I think it all comes down to what he does off the gate.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. That's why that's the only thing that scares me, as you mentioned, the post advantage there. We're going to move on to race number 6. That's going to kick off the late pick 5. And I know you and I both really like a horse in here, Randy, that's going to be starting from the inside. Howmack Charmer, going to make his second start over this Campbellville Oval. He missed nearly a month coming into that effort, and I thought it was a really solid third, and you have to figure he's going to be even sharper tonight.
I would have to think as well. So we got 2 replays to show in here, John. We're going to show Howmack Charmer, and we're going to show State One Smiley, who I thought was kind of, sneaky good, let's call him, in his last there. But let's take a look at Howmack Charmer. Like John said, recently come here. This is a 5-year-old son of Malicious. Now, I drove Malicious for Doc Moore, and boy, he was fast, no doubt about that. Doug Williams, longtime standardbred owner from Guelph, Ontario, and looks like he's maybe purchased this guy, or maybe he was racing him down on the East Coast. I would say probably a private purchase. And now Greg McNair. Let's take a look at the wheels that this guy's going to bring forward. You can see Dougie splitting in between Tony Hahn and Jay Harris right now. And he's going to move this guy down to the inside. This is a big drink of water, too, this horse. Look at the size of him, just the neck alone. He's going to win races just if he shoves that nose out front. Now, watch this. This is when he really starts to get going here. And Dougie makes a real quick whoa, down in through here. And to me, had good wheels on the end of it. He is the way that I'm going to go, but there's another replay I want to show you on here. And this is the 4-year-old State Treasure, State One Smiley, Justin Turcott. This is going to be 4th start for this fella. So let's take a look at him. Last week driven by J.R. Plant. This week right back to J.R. Plant. And I kind of like, me, John, I like it when if I think a horse race good, I like the driver to come right back because they know that the horse race good. Little bit of a gap there, and you can see J.R. is already starting to chase him a little bit, but I think that there's a little bit of laziness in this guy. What I was more interested in is what was he going to do right on the end of it. And, dropping from non-winners of 2,500 into a class like this, I think it's a big takedown because look at who he had to race against last week. It's Major and Uncle Shank. He's not going to get the best of It's Major and Uncle Shank, but look at him coming up the inside here. Now he's in a race where it looks like his maybe one of his biggest horses is Elliott Moose to take on. Big difference in talent.
And speaking of which, both replays you highlighted, you mentioned one of them being Uncle Shank. How about the reference point for Howmack Charmer? Who did he, finish behind? Mr. Ibiza, who we saw put forth an amazing effort last night. And Uncle Shank's effort was a great one, too. So both these horses that you highlighted, both of them are coming out of races with winners that were extremely good, and they came back the week after to be even sharper. So
our numbers are fairly the same.
Fairly the
there.
same,
only
yeah,
thing, what about the 5 horse? It Takes Two. I always find when McNivens bring horses here, they always race really, really well. And sometimes it seems to me like they fly under the radar a little.
He's sharp. He's got a good draw to work with. So I think it's one that can stick around for a piece. But I'm going to pretty much go all in on this Greg McNair trainee. I really do think how Mac Charmer, a lot of things are pointing towards a big effort tonight, I'd say.
Yeah, I would have to agree too.
So I'm going to have him as a single in my pick 6, pick 5 sequence there to kick things off. We're going to move on to race number 7, and this is our featured event tonight, the Open Trot. We're scratched down to a field of 9 here, so Logan Park's going to start from the far outside tonight. Randy, you and I both seem to think that it's not going to matter tonight.
I can't see anybody on this from top to bottom that's really, going to be a big thorn in this guy's side. And the one that, to me, had the biggest potential of being a thorn in his side is now scratched, and that's the 10-horse Gaines Hanover. So now it's gotten even a little bit easier for Logan Park. To me, John, I mean, we can take a look at the we are sending Logan Park's replay, right? Okay, yeah, so let's take a look at the FanDuel trot down at the Meadowlands. And before we do run this, Jason, though, just quickly, let's talk about it, though, John. Remember, tell us about around the first turn, because it didn't really work out the best for Dougie, but I thought it was a pretty nifty, sharp driving move by Scotty Zeron.
Listen, from a strategical standpoint, that was the winning thing to do, right? You lock in a horse who's a main contender like Logan Park. If you watch the race from the start, I know we're only highlighting the stretch drive, but as soon as the gate unfolded, Scott floats out of there, and he's got a chance to kind of let Doug out. He just keeps driving on, fishing for somebody to come out so he can follow cover. And ended up being the demise for Doug McNair and Logan Park, because he got trapped in, and that's why you see him right there, second last on the inside. Great decision, great job by Scott Zeron there, and just great wits there. I mean, you want to lock in a horse that's going to be a main contender. It didn't end up working out for Logan Park because of it, but I mean, it's strategy. That's racing.
No friends down there.
Nope.
No friends going for 500,000, eh, John?
Yep, no.
There we go. So let's go with this. But that's why I wanted everybody to know how Doug got into that situation. And this is going to work out great for McNair. You know what I mean? Only Dougie, in my opinion, on a muddy night like this, whatever, only Dougie could find his way through this field of horses and ends up coming up with a big effort. So let's go Dougie with this guy. He does, look at this, already a sideways move. This McNair, I'm telling you, like he really maps. Look at the room that he's looking for here.
I have no idea how he finished third.
He's really an amazing kind of a driver, how he can get a horse to change direction, fire up, shut down, all in a matter of a couple of strides. So you can see him coming here 100. I just think that it was a situation where Dougie wasn't expecting Scotty to do that. I think he thought that Scotty would just kind of lay out there, let him move at his time, and then he starts the flow. And that's not the way Scotty wanted to do it. Scotty said, you're going to stay in there. I'm going to get ahead of you, and then you can do what I want to do, and that's the thing. He got control.
I think the biggest thing that we're really impressed with regarding Logan Park, especially over his last few tries, is he needed to be reprogrammed a little bit, right? You could tell he was getting a little bit tired, and Doug started racing him off the pace as of late, and he's responded, and he looks as sharp as ever as he did, I think, at any point during this year. It's too bad the stakes season is done, because if he kept on racing with this current form right now, I think he'd be definitely a main player. And we saw that in the FanDuel Open Trot. A great effort. Had no business to be third given the trip, but he flaunted that late kick that we know he's got in his back pocket. So
single, John?
Yeah, he's a single for me. But I'm curious to see how Doug's going to race him tonight, though, because he's so sharp. I don't think it's going to matter if he wants to cut this mile tonight.
No,
I know
so,
he looked bionic when he raced him from off the pace last time we saw him here. I don't think it's going to matter tonight. I think he's coming into this race really sharp, and he's clearly the one to beat. Safe conduct for me, maybe the biggest threat, you could say, but even then, I say that lightly because I just think he's going to jog in here.
Yeah, that I agree. I think that Logan Park is going to come up with an incredible effort. And I also agree on your other statement, too. I mean, the way that it sits right now, the one that scares me the most is the 6-horse.
Yeah, Gaines Hanover, though. He looked locked and loaded last time out, sitting in the pocket. That
was a double-up run, wasn't it?
I would have to say. And then
I think so, too.
10-hole tonight, he scratched sick, though, but one that I was interested in seeing come back tonight and compete. So there's our thoughts in that Open Trot. We're going to move on to race number 9. That's going to be the first half of that late double. It's also going to be the last leg of that pick 6 sequence. And we've got a field of 8 going postward here. Did you go back to my friend Jose, because this is a horse that you've backed several times, I should say. I know I backed him tonight, but I'm curious to hear if you did the same.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah, all over this Herb Holland trainee there. Come back last week on a 6-day rotation, and it was a good effort that he ended up putting in there for Louis Wah. He was bet down as the favorite, but let's take a look at this replay. Louis had the rail. It can be a little tough, difficult, I think, sometimes for my friend Jose. I love him out here, middle of the gate, sort of an area there. I think that he can just whistle off the gate, and he can push off the rail pretty good too, but sometimes it can be a little bit more difficult. So let's take a look at the replay on my friend Jose in his last start. And just to allude to a little bit of what I was saying a little bit earlier on about Billy Davis, keep that thought for tomorrow. 4-year-old son of Father Patrick. Keep that thought for tomorrow too, my friend. But anyway, here we go with my friend Jose and Louis Wah. Going to come from way out of it. Does he have any go on the end of it? We're about to find out. So you can see right now, Louis going to set up with this guy on the outside, and here he comes with the yellow Herb Holland cross on the head hood on this guy. And look at this guy come, John. I mean, all gas, no brakes, race great, but I'll tell you, he was looking for that wire, and guess what? This guy, he wasn't looking for the wire. He still had wheels on the end of it.
Still a horse that's not the cleanest off that final turn, and I think sometimes that has costed him. It's why I've loved when drivers who sit behind him just try and roll him out of there, because you get enough separation going to that final turn. I really do think it's going to bode well for a trotter like this, but I think that effort was an indication that maybe he's sitting on a pretty big one tonight. So that's why I went to him on top, but he wasn't putting forth some of the consistent efforts that we saw maybe in the late summer.
Yeah, isn't this a situation though where, I mean, his best race is just like, I mean, look what he's in again, like not what the ones that he's in against are bringing. This is just a roll down the road.
I would have to think, I didn't key him in my multi-leg sequences whatsoever, because I do think Eurobank Hanover won that merits respect. That was a sharp qualifying effort, so Tyler Jones is going to pick up a pretty live drive here. And Major Bank, another one that I think can push out of there from the inside and work out a pretty good trip. Doug opting to go to Patriarch Hanover over my friend Jose in this spot. I mean, probably just a Brad Grant factor, Greg McNair factor potentially, but that scratch is that judge's injured scratch kind of concerns me a little bit. I know he's got the class to be competitive in this group, but I just prefer a few others in this spot tonight.
Yeah, you didn't use Patriarch at all?
I used him underneath for fourth, but I didn't use him on any multi-leg tickets.
Yeah, I didn't either, but I did use him underneath as well.
Yeah, so my friend Jose, the direction that Randy and I are going to go to here in the last leg of that pick six. We're going to move on to race number 10. That's going to close out the Sunday night program. We've got a field of 10 here. I really like Doug McNair's lineup tonight. I think he's got a great lineup. I think he's got contenders from start to finish. And Tricky McWicky, one that I'm going to go to here in this spot as my drop and pop play, because I just think he's in a much better spot. This is a pretty big drop for him, but his efforts haven't been all that sharp in his last couple of tries. I'm curious to know, did you try and play against him in this spot?
I did, but he is my second choice, so I'm trying to play against him. I am going to go Armor Sealster. I thought he was huge on his last, and a couple of things about him. This is going to be 2 weeks that he's right down at the bottom of the class. And I mean, when they stay down here for a couple of starts, they really start to get confidence. Even if they're not winning, they're getting confident because they're coming out of the races not fully expended, because, they don't have to race as tough as when they're in against other ones. So each time he races in this, he's going to probably get a little stronger and a little stronger. So now he's been down in these bottom classes for a bit. Now this last week was the first time that he drops right down to the bottom. So let's take a look at Armor Sealster in this last race for J.R. Plant. J.R. Plant coming right back to this guy as well. And he's also getting a bridle change sending in tonight too. Gabby Sasso going to go from blind to an open bridle for this guy. So let's take a look at Armor Sealster. You can see JR way back here. He's just going to find a little bit of a thread of room in here now with this guy. And I like when they race him this way. I like when they race him covered up. I think he's a way tougher horse. I think he's got real quick speed. Who was the one Gabby win with last night? Bruno, no. So Gabby Sasso, obviously, racing good right now. Her barn, and look at this big guy. I mean, he's not going to have any problem. He's not going to be able to get to the jump. But look at the way that he is charging right to the wire. We don't always see that with Armor Sealster, and I just think that he's a horse that has his ups and his downs. And I think that in the last few starts, we're starting to see ups with Armor Sealster, and he's right at the bottom of the class. So that's the way I'm going to go.
The only concern for me is that that was a good effort, and I've seen that in the past, and then he'll follow that up with a bit of a, an effort
He's
maybe a little
suspect.
bit below. Yeah, that's why he's only got one win this year, right? He's capable of a good effort, but can he string it together consistently? I think that's what haven't seen much of this year, but I agree with you. He raced super last time out. I think I used him underneath as well. Hard not to off that effort because not too many people or not too many horses in this spot really stand out. We know what Forefather can do when he's on his game, but his last few efforts haven't given us any indication that he's someone you can trust, because it's kind of been the story of the last couple of years for him, right? I mean, just a tough horse to trust.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And if you look up and down this, would he's in control not really be a standout sort of talent-wise in here? So I mean, I threw him down in on the bottom. Not really sure what Lyle's going to come up with this guy. But Tricky McWicky, I got him in for second. I like your pick in here. I mean, he's going to be tough to beat. Also another horse dropping down in class. McNair, middle of the gate, and can control his own destiny. Maybe I'll get lucky, and JR is going to be able to drop right in behind Tricky McWicky with Armor.
All right, and we've got that jackpot high five carryover as well, over $40,000 in climbing. So there's our thoughts on that Sunday night 10-pack. Let's go through some multi-leg ticket ideas, Randy, and let's start off with your early pick 5 tonight.
Okay, John. So we're going to start it off 2 deep, and we're going to stay at 2 deep for a couple of races. Going to start this off 1-9. Going to go Fancy Lettering, and Job Hunter got both the bookends there. And then in race number 2, I'm going to go YYC on the horizon onto the 4 horse, I guess it is. No, the 3 horse, early action. Hal Victor, I got him in for second, but I don't really necessarily look at him as a win candidate. But early action, I do look at him as a bit of a win candidate in there. In race number 3, oh no, that's your ticket. Yeah, race number 3, I'm alling it. Race number 4 is going to be Spartan General Key, and race number 5, I'm coming right back and keying Let's Get Rocked.
Spartan General Key, I like it. We know he's got the class.
Yeah.
I used him in my pick 5 ticket. I decided to go all in on Job Hunter. I think it's a really good spot for her as well, but I'm afraid of Fancy Lettering. I mean, she's a really, really sharp horse right now, but I'm going to hope that the drop for Job Hunter is enough, so I'm going to go all in on her. 3 deep for me in race number 2. I opted to leave early action off my tickets, and I don't know what to make of Premier First Star. He's one that intrigues me in this spot. I think this horse, if he gets driven aggressively, I think he can definitely be a bit of a contender. I'm all in on Sport and Sense. I wanted to try and find another single somewhere in a race where I struggled with. I decided I'm going to go all in on this Cam McQueen trainee, but I'm in agreement with you on Spartan General. I feel like I've got to use him. But again, I just think some other horses might be able to get the jump on him. JG's Pal as well as Bella Cavala. And race 5, you mentioned Vertical Squirt, one that I left off, I think, on my pick 6 ticket. I did include in my pick 5 ticket. So that's the way that I see this early pick 5 sequence. But I think the focus is going to be on that pick 6 sequence tonight, especially with that carryover. I do think it's a great sequence that you want to be a part of as well.
I agree, completely agree. I forgot to send in my tickets, but I will send in my late pick 5 and my pick 6 tickets.
We'll hear your thoughts there throughout the night. And as for the plays of the night, let's see your 4-pack tonight, Randy.
Okay, so we're going to start this off in race number 3. Race Credit's going to be my worth a look in there. In race number 6, it's going to be Waples Watch with Hal Mac Charmer. We showed you that replay, big effort on the end of it. All in's going to be Logan Park. From the outside. We're not going to get really rich on him, but we can use him in a few of the multis. And my beat the favorite is going to be my friend Jose.
All right, I'm in agreement with you on Hal Mac Charmer. He's one of my plays. My all-in's going to be Job Hunter here in the opener. Double up Sport and Sense. My best bet, Hal Mac Charmer. My drop and pop, Tricky McWicky. I told you I thought McNair had a really good lineup. I think I've got him on top for 6 or 7 tonight, so I'm hoping he can carry some of that momentum from last night. We had a couple winners, right? So
yeah.
I'm hoping he can find the winner's circle a few times tonight. It'll certainly make my night worthwhile.
What do we got with the Rogues Gallery here?
And we've got Ghislaine Paquette, Job Hunter, new opposition. I think she's in a better spot. I agree. Ghislaine, Sport and Sense. Garnet Barnsdale in agreement with me as his spot play. Kevin Plaucha playing the role of contrarian. Safe Conduct as his spot play. Best of luck, Kevin. You're on an island on that one because Randy and I do not agree with that. All right, 8 minutes to go before we kick off this Sunday night program. Randy and I will be with you all night long, highlighted by a pick 6 carryover.